Hey everyone, you're in luck. You get a bonus video this week. This week I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick review of the Lexin B4FM. Picked this up for about $175 on Amazon, delivered to my doorstep. The reason I picked it up is there's this kid I'm coaching, about 8 years old, and needed to be able to communicate with him in real time. And the unit that I was using, the Cardo Scala Q1, it's not designed for that. That's designed for rider to passenger explicitly. So, picked these up, and I'll be honest, I'm actually rather impressed. And the reason I went with one of these and not another Cardo, even though I'm more or less happy with Cardo, is the price. One single Cardo unit for the free comm was like $200, $220. So the multi-pack, you're approaching 400 something. Really steep. Whereas I can get a dual pack of this for 170. If it didn't work well, I'm still out less than I was for one unit of the cheaper competitor. Seen as more expensive than that. And so they priced themselves out of the market as far as I was concerned. And so I went ahead, put this through as many of the paces as I really cared to. The first one I did is I decided to experiment. It has one little jack on the back. And then you also have a jack for USB charging. And it can actually charge while talking. Most things can, so that's not exactly what I'd call a special feature. The neat thing is the jack on the back. The bad thing is you can't just plug your cell phone straight up into it and call it good. It uses a different standard. It uses the standard where the microphone and the ground are swapped. Those are your top two rings, away from the pin. And that wasn't a big deal. You can buy a converter for $5 and then use your cell phone headset if you choose to. So you don't have to use this for strictly motorcycles. You can use it for bicycles, just walking around, whatever. And then there's the range. You can daisy chain up to 4 of these, hence the B4. And you can daisy chain them. Supposedly it goes up to a mile and just under a mile and a quarter. But that's in perfect conditions, so that doesn't exactly count. So we only have 2 units, so we put it into a more real-world thing. We managed to get 320 meters before we just got sick of it, which, okay, in theory, we should have been able to get to about 5 in perfect conditions. But considering we got 320 before the 8-year-old child and I got sick of it, and that was with 4 lanes of traffic between us, of cars zipping by, that's not bad. That's nothing to sneeze at. These things are advertised as waterproof. We went and we submerged it in a cup of water for about 30 seconds while active, while talking to each other. And when we actually pulled it out and pulled the headphone jack out, everything came out dry, which was actually really impressive. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to have a disaster on my hands. But it didn't. It actually did very well. And so the range is decent. Especially considering that the free comm units I was looking at, they're saying that their unit would get 0.8 miles daisy chained up, which is about what this realistically did. So in terms of distance, that's doing well. That's on par with what I was seeing on the free comm from Cardo. So at half the price, less than half the price. And okay, there's no fancy gadgets on my handlebars or anything like that, but I don't need them. It's 4 buttons. It navigates everything just fine. It even interfaces with Bixby fairly well. Bixby still has that problem where it still would prefer to default to the cell phone mic rather than the headset. That's a Bixby thing. You can't hold it against Lexin. So all in all, I've been really impressed with this. The fact I was able to submerge it, the price point's where I wanted it, the fact I can link up to 4 units. I can actually turn the conversations off. You don't have to constantly be chatting with the person. That's all really nice and well and good. My only gripe with it is that I can't store an emergency number on here the way I could my Q1. And so I'm missing that a little bit. But since it does work with the hands-free on my cell phone, that's not even a big deal. You know, I just tap it for the voice dial, call whoever I want that way, rather than having to go, okay, I'm going to set this phone number specifically for my tap 3 time thing. which that was for those of you unfamiliar with, that was the Q1's emergency number thing, is you'd program one in, you'd tap your button 3 times and you go, oh, okay, I need to call the emergency number. So there was that this doesn't have that feature, but it doesn't need it really, not if your voice activation is working fine. That's really about it. The microphones are standard fare. One other thing I'm going to post really quick up here is the decibel readings out of the two. Again, I've been rocking the Cardoscalic Q1 for about 2 years, and it did shorten the rain a little bit despite being advertised as waterproof. I'm not anticipating that from this, especially after that 30-second underwater test. I think I'm doing fine. Anyway, back to the point. The speakers are actually louder on this, and I'll post the decibel results there, which, when you're going down the road at 60 miles an hour, that's definitely an improvement. So it actually performs better than a unit that, I mean, granted, it's out of date by a couple generations now, but the fact that it outperformed that unit that was higher dollar, essentially, or on par, it was a single unit that was of only meant to be rider to passenger, not even an actual transmitter. I'm impressed that that this is pulled off so well. So the Lexin B4FM, if you're just getting into the sport, go for it. Cardo, Cena, you guys really need to take note. You and a lot of other manufacturers seem to forget something about this sport. People need to be able to afford it. People are a lot more frugal with their money, and if you keep pricing yourself out of the market, you're going to go out of the market. Yeah, high-end stuff is nice. Little features like little handlebar mounts are cute. But the sport needs to be affordable if we're going to keep people in it. And that's just me as a rider who cares about the sport. So please, guys, take note. I know that you're wanting to protect your investments. I know you're wanting to protect your livelihood. But if nobody's out there to buy your product anymore, you're not protecting anything. Anyway, later.